I'm going to take some of your questions now. As always, announce your name and the affiliation that you are with so that we can have some semblance of order.
Dave Roberts, KMTV News Watch 7. Is there any police tactic or even threat of punishment that's going to be able to stop this gang violence?
Law enforcement can take it a measure down, and we have done that. If you look at our numbers throughout the city, over the last 7 years, the shooting numbers have edged down. Up until this point in 2015, our homicides were edging down. So law enforcement can take it to a point, Dave, but we can't eradicate it. I can't get into the minds of everybody in our city. I can't get into the minds of the gang members. The culture is so entrenched into retaliation and shootings another gang member upon sight of them simply because they're from a different gang and you've had a beef in the past. The way to eradicate this, the way to break it down short term is the community and police come together. Let's make some arrest on this to make a statement and let's move forward with it. The long-term process for a cure has to center around the root causes of crime, educational gaps, poverty, lack of employment, and building up of the community.
Chief Maggie O'Brien, Omaha World Herald. Can you talk at all about this kind of escalated level of violence? 10 people shot, now 3 dead, and some of those concerns
Sure.
as you were out there?
Maggie, that's a great question. Some of it I'm going to keep to ourselves. As law enforcement, we have a fairly good idea of the nature of the retaliation and the gangs involved. I can't say it publicly because what I say publicly can spark something in the community that I don't want to occur. I could tell you that it's centered directly around gang and gun violence and retaliation over matters that have occurred recently or oftentimes matters that have occurred maybe even 2-3 years ago. But we're in the eye of the storm right now. And that's why you're going to see a lot more law enforcement presence out, and you're going to see a much more adept effort from law enforcement to address this. But again, my cautionary note is police presence is not the cure. It's the middle of January, a lot of people are inside their houses. And it's, in the United States, you're allowed to do that. And there's not much that we can do to prevent that. So we've got some other law enforcement tactics and some things behind the scenes that we are working on to eradicate the fabric of gang and gun violence in our community. But those operations take a lot of time.
Chief Chase with WWT. Talk about how this was in technically a vacant house and how you've been able to work on those kinds of properties in the past.
Well, we do have an effort going to work on abandoned houses, vacant houses, as they're used for gathering reports that often can result in violence. Last night was a good example of how spontaneous violence can occur because of that. As far as I understand with this particular house, 3402 Parker, it was not abandoned, just unoccupied. How long that transition was going to be, who's to say? But there is an effort citywide to address abandoned housing and whatever angle that plays into the criminal element. Not just shootings sometimes, but also lower level crimes as well occur in the abandoned houses.
Chief Tom Becker.com.
Hey Tom, haven't seen you in a while. It's good to hear from you.
The gun that you confiscated, I know you had to do ballistic tests to see if it actually was part of that shooting, but does the caliber match the bullets that you found on the scene?
Yeah, Tom, you know, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say. We know the information of that. And I think the reason to be pretty clear as to why I don't want to say, I've just given who we arrested for that. And it wouldn't be hard to connect the dots on various things, and I cannot go any further with that.
Chief Lindsay Beast, KMTV Action 3 News.
Hi, Lindsay.
Can you give us any more information about these victims, who they were in the community? I know that they have families. Did any of them have children? Were they married? Anything like that?
Yeah, some of the victims had children. Their background and their status in the community is something that will get vetted out after this press conference as you have an opportunity to talk to their friends and family. I didn't know any of them personally. My experience with this personally is, as Chief of Police, to oversee this investigation to ensure that we come to resolving the matter. But also from a personal standpoint, I did have an opportunity to speak to victims' families, and I want those victims to know I saw your eyes and I saw the tears in your eyes, And that will resonate with me until we bring resolve to this matter. Take maybe one or two more questions.
Chief, have more people come to the called Crime Stoppers or contacted the police now that, you know, they've gotten away from that mob mentality?
Starting to uptick, Tom. I would expect it to pick up pace, quite frankly. The one thing that we are seeing in the city of Omaha is the community does step forward. Gang members are not. Even if they're shot, they're not going to assist in this endeavor. And they will provide an element of intimidation as they can. The community itself has been pretty good with us. And I do anticipate community members who are at that party just trying to have a good time will contact us.
Chief, Marjorie Beck, Police Association.
Hi, Audrey.
Can you say whether you believe that this shooting was the result of a gang retaliation of some kind?
I can't say that. And I can't say that because I don't know. I just can't say that because everything that I say carries out to the public, and part of the public is the criminal element that I can't have them know what I'm thinking and what information we have at our disposal. Everybody, as always, the media and the city of Omaha does an excellent job being representatives of the community. I thank you very much, and have a good evening.